Hi, my name is Irene Jones, and this is my presentation. I guess my own understanding of application of complexity theory. Moving to the next slide here. So, what is complexity theory? Complexity theory looks to understand aspects of the world as part of a wider system. It ultimately recognizes that complex behavior emerges from a few simple rules, and that all complex systems are networks of many interdependent parts which interact according to those rules. It has been an attractive theory to try and adapt to the world of business and risk. It also is an attempt to discover a complex interaction of factors which may lead to a risk or crisis event. Also listed here on the screen, it interrogates ideas derived from other fields, such as chaos theory, to examine systems as they are and not just by simplifying them. I will go into a little more detail on the next slide here. Chaos and complexity theory. They are intimately related, but of course they have their different um, meanings. Chaos and complexity theory studies dynamic nonlinear systems. For example, systems that change with time and demonstrate complex relationship between inputs and outputs due to feedback loops within the system. The quantitative study of these systems is more so the chaos theory. Complexity theory is more of the qualitative aspect, drawing upon insights and metaphors that are derived from the chaos theory. Moving to the next slide here. I guess for me to better understand complexity theory, you can consider it two complex system. In a complex system, numerous independent elements interact and organize and reorganize themselves into a more elaborate structure over time. More of a breakdown here, it is a group of interacting elements which are not identical, even if from the same class. The elements can learn and change. The forces and connections between the elements may not be simple and may themselves change within time. Also listed here within complex systems, relationships between dimensions are frequently nonlinear. For example, when change happens, it is frequently unpredictable and disproportionate. Moving to the next slide here. Just the characteristics of complex system. Going from counterclockwise here, complexity is characterized by a large number of similar but independent elements or agent, persistent movement and responses by these elements to other agents, adaptiveness so that the system adjusts to new situations to ensure survival, self-organization in which order in the system form spontaneously, as I mentioned in the previous slide. Local rules that apply to each agent. Progression is complexity so that over time the system becomes larger and more sophisticated. It's kind of some of the stuff I kind of mentioned in the previous slide. Just want to just give a more narrative view over image of the breakdown and the characteristics of complex systems. Going to the next slide here. I also provide an illustration that comes, of course, from economics, which is the S curve. Excuse me. The S curve displays the characteristics of complexity. The front loop of the adaptive cycle is similar to the well-known S curve or the logistic curve, which rises steeply and then flattens out due to constraints on growth. This period is typically by gradual accumulation of wealth, increasing connectiveness, and decreasing resilience. Eventually, the system is destabilized by one or more disruptions. Examples can include industrial accident, political matters, economic crisis, disease epidemics, and technology failures. This ultimately leads to when that fails, this leads to collapse of the existing equilibrium, and the system enters a period of chaotic change and reorganization corresponding to the back loop of the adaptive cycle. during which wealth is depleted and connectiveness decreases dramatically. However, this process of creative destructions provides opportunities for innovation, new scientific discovery. You have new institutions, new relationships, and just assembly new business process flow. Ultimately, this leads so that the system shifts into a more resilient state and re-enters the growth phase. Just a conclusion here. Complexity encourages us to consider preparedness in different terms and to use approaches that thrive within uncertainty and disorder. The study of complex systems is concerned with both the structure and the dynamics of systems and their interaction within their environment. It also breaks down have many degrees of freedom, right? Many elements that are partially but not completely independent. Some people call the behavior of these systems high dimensional chaos to distinguish it from the conventional low dimensional case. Complexity is ultimately just a holistic approach to learning and understanding the world around. The underlying thought is that all complex systems may be organic or not, shares an overall universal dynamic. The system that can adapt best and most quickly in an environment characterized by uncertainty and rapid change will ultimately prevail. That concludes my presentation to the application of complexity theory. I hope that you enjoyed or got a better understanding from my understanding of the breakdown complexity theory. Moving to the next slide here is just my references that I did use, and thank you.